There's a moment in history when a single discovery reshapes the survival odds of entire civilizations, and this is one of them. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe, because this channel is built for people who love history not as trivia, but as a living toolkit. What you're about to learn isn't hobby knowledge. For 4,000 years, it kept societies alive on thin soils, unpredictable climates, and frontier land that would starve most modern farmers. And the part that catches everyone off guard is this. Every time this crop grew, it didn't drain the ground. It improved it. While empires rose and fell, this one plant quietly rewrote the rules of land management. The story starts long before modern fertilizers, long before soil labs, and long before global trade. Ancient farmers had to work with what was under their feet, and for millions of people that meant thin, exhausted earth. The crop that changed everything was the humble field pea. It didn't look like much, and it didn't need much. All it required was a foothold in the soil. In return, it fed families, supported livestock, and regenerated depleted land. This simple, overlooked legume is one of the earliest crops ever domesticated, and evidence shows people were cultivating it at least 4,000 years ago, from the Middle East to Europe, Asia, and North Africa. Its value wasn't just in the calories. It was in the way it partnered with the land itself. When we talk about peas enriching soil, we're really talking about how legume roots work with rhizobia bacteria. This is not theory. It's observable science that ancient farmers understood in the most practical way. Peas restored fields that cereals had worn down. When wheat, barley or millet stripped nitrogen, peas put it back. Not by sprinkling it on the surface, but by storing it deep in the ground where the next season's crop could actually use it. Farmers noticed that cereals grown after peas were stronger, greener, and more productive even in poor soils. They didn't need a chemistry textbook to see the transformation. Year after year, peas quietly rebuilt fertility, which gave ancient communities a level of stability that's, well, really easy to underestimate. This matters for us today because, honestly, the principles haven't changed. Whether you're a modern prepper with a backyard plot, or you know someone interested in historical self-reliance, peas still offer one of the most forgiving and regenerative crops you can grow. You don't need rich soil. You don't need perfect weather. You don't even need heavy equipment. What you need is consistency. If you were to plant peas on a depleted patch of land, then follow them with a cereal or root crop, you would see the same regeneration effect that farmers in the Bronze Age saw. And if you kept cycling legumes through your field every few seasons, you'd build genuine resilience into your soil without relying on imported fertilizers or expensive inputs. The crop's ability to thrive in lean soils also made it a strategic asset. When medieval farmers divided land by fertility, peas were placed on the poorest plots because that's where they shined. Where wheat struggled, peas persisted. Where barley thinned out, peas filled in. This wasn't a compromise, it was a deliberate tactic. The crop essentially bought farmers time, allowing them to rest other fields or graze animals without catastrophic loss of food production. That strategy helped stabilize entire villages. In Northern Europe, for instance, peas became a cornerstone of early crop rotations that allowed societies to sustain growing populations without exhausting land to the point of collapse. We can also look at frontier histories to see the same pattern. Settlers from Russia to North America leaned on peas because they grew fast, stored well, and held nutritional value even after long winters. But again, the overlooked benefit was regenerative power. Every plot where peas took root became easier to work the next season. This helped settlers build long-term farms more quickly and with fewer livestock resources. If you're interested in applying the same principle today, the method is straightforward. Break the soil lightly with a hoe or fork instead of deep tilling. Broadcast peas thickly across the area. Let them grow to maturity. Cut the vines at ground level instead of pulling them, leaving the roots in the soil. The nitrogen nodules on those roots continue feeding the earth long after the plant is gone. Then you plant your next crop directly into that enriched bed. One of the biggest lessons from history is that resilience usually comes from small, repeatable actions, not grand innovations. Growing peas was one of those actions. Civilizations used it to stretch the lifespan of their fields, stabilize food supplies, and avoid soil collapse centuries before scientific agriculture existed. That's exactly why this crop still matters for anyone who takes preparedness seriously. If you ever had to grow food under pressure, with limited tools and imperfect soil, peas would be one of the most reliable allies you could choose. They don't just survive, they strengthen the ground beneath your feet. Even modern regenerative farmers are circling back to what ancient communities already knew. If you want soil that lasts, you plant legumes. If you want self-sufficiency, you build your foundation on crops that give more than they take. And if you want a resilient garden or homestead that can recover from hard use, you bring back the old methods rather than relying on, fragile modern systems. The crop that grew on poor soils for 4,000 years and left the ground richer every season is still here, still powerful, and still as relevant as ever for anyone who wants to keep land productive without chemical dependency. That's why serious historians study it, and honestly, why serious survivalists continue to plant it. If you found this valuable, make sure you subscribe, share this with another history lover, and keep building your knowledge one forgotten skill at a time.